Hi everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. I appreciate your patience. We were running into a little technical difficulties, and this is my first ever panel that I'm ever hosting. So once again, your patience is very much appreciated. We'll get started in just a moment. In the meantime, sit back, get comfy, and prepare to have a good time, I hope. All right, in just a few moments, you should see an accompanying slideshow popping up on your screen. I highly recommend that you double click on that window in order to see everything larger, or if for some reason you just want to focus on my face the whole time, you can double click on the window with my face in it and have that one be larger. But in order to just read and follow along, just double click on the window with the presentation and that one will become larger. I do want to let everyone know that this panel is being recorded, and hopefully, barring any technical difficulties, it will be online on my YouTube channel after the convention is over in case anyone happened to miss parts of it or if you just wanted to go back and watch the whole thing. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the video. I will be presenting the entire time and reading off of my presentation, so I will not be able to see the chat. I would ask that you hold any and all possible questions until the end, and then I'll be able to go through and answer all of them. All right, so without much further ado, here is fursuiting in the time of quarantine. We're going to start off with a little bit of an introduction. Hi, my name is Shetani. My pronouns are she, her. I am a king cheetah. I joined the Furry Fandom in 2012, though I had been following along for many years prior, and I've been a fursuiter for 6 years and counting. Now, a lot of us can't really afford to go to many conventions for whatever reason, be it finances, getting time off of work, logistics, perhaps there aren't very many conventions in your area. So I don't really go to as many cons as some of the other fursuiters that you might happen to see online. For that reason, I've gotten really good at finding things to do in my fursuit that don't involve having to go outside and, rely on an external event. With this, global health crisis going on and many areas being in quarantine, I noticed that a lot of fursuiters on social media were expressing that they were, disappointed and upset that they can't go out and fursuit anymore. And people were saying things like, oh, I'm just sitting there looking at my fursuit in the box, waiting for the chance to wear it again. And I thought to myself, what's stopping you from wearing your fursuit right now? So when I saw that Megaplex was having this event, I figured maybe I'd hop on and share some of the tips and tricks that I've developed over the years in order to help other people understand how better to utilize their fursuit in a time like this. So, as we all know, the furry fandom is a vast and diverse space, and there are so many different ways that we connect with the community as well as each other. Though not at all required to be part of the furry fandom, there is a small yet vocal minority of us who enjoy fursuiting. For those of us who do have fursuits, of course, it is an amazingly fun and creative expression and just a really great hobby that a lot of us have put a lot of time and effort into. Either you paid someone a great deal to make a fursuit for you, just your specifications, or you've even made it yourself and put all of that time, process of learning, materials, and everything into creating what are essentially these works of art. And of course, fursuiting has a lot of personal significance for us. Our fursonas are characters that are very near and dear to us. Becoming them in the flesh, so to speak, by putting on a fursuit is an experience that's fairly unique to the furry fandom. It's not like a cosplayer who dresses up in a costume of a different character from, say, a video game or an anime or a movie that someone else had created. We've made these characters ourselves, and we've grown very attached to them. So being able to embody them is something very special to us. We furries have come to rely on fursuits as an aid for socializing, networking, and having fun. A lot of the time, social anxiety is an issue with some furries or, people in our community. We have a hard time breaking that ice and getting to know somebody else. Fursuits are a great vehicle for that, obviously. By putting on a costume, sometimes people have some more confidence in order to go out and do things that they wouldn't normally do. For many of us, the fursuits or the characters that we embody when we put on a fursuit are more like a separate character, and stepping into those shoes enable us to be more adventurous, daring, bold, go out, speak to a person we wouldn't normally speak to, go to a place we would never go before. I mean, I can say for myself, I wouldn't have traveled all the way to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for Anthrocon if I weren't part of this furry fandom. So during this pandemic situation, when there are no more in-person conventions, those avenues for getting to know other people and doing in-person socialization have been cut off. A lot of furries are at a loss. And besides that, even just public fursuiting, often folks will just go out, to a public place, a park, a gathering, and fursuit, bringing joy to other people, if that's something that you're into. You can't even do that because of the social distancing measures that have been put into place. So it poses the question, what do I do with my fursuit when there are no in-person conventions going on and I can't even go out to see my friends? Well, one of the simplest and most accessible things that you can do with your fursuit at home is photo shoots. Now, a lot of people are daunted by this at first. The word photo shoot carries a lot of weight to it. When people hear photography, they think you need expensive cameras and lenses and lighting setups and the whole 9 yards. That couldn't be further from the truth. While having dedicated photography equipment is, of course, helpful, for a hobbyist or someone just looking to have fun and take pictures of themselves in their fursuit, it's by no means required. These days, almost everyone has a smartphone right there in your pocket. And with the ubiquitousness of phones, they're almost required for modern life. So the standard smartphone can do a lot more than most people give it credit for. Unless you have a phone that's really old, like several years old, it's likely that it has a pretty high quality camera. And I've seen like amazing images that have been shot on cameras. I know people are shooting entire like feature-length films on their iPhones these days. So it can do a lot. It's definitely serviceable for taking fursuit photos. Now, every fursuit is built differently and has a different set of limitations, but a lot of the time, there are some things that are more difficult to do in fursuit if you don't have a handler. Handler is the term for a second person, not wearing a fursuit, who helps out a fursuiter doing stuff. Normally, these are seen at conventions or public outings, where the handler kind of makes sure that the fursuiter knows where they're going due to the limited vision and sight and speaking capabilities of a fursuit. But of course, some people have full suits that they can't get into on their own. They need some extra help. That would be what a handler is for in those cases. Depending on your situation, whether there are people you're sheltering in place with, or you might live alone, maybe your household members, they may or may not be willing to help you out with your photography or your fursuiting, you may have to find yourself managing by yourself. Worry not. There are tons of tools that you can use to assist with doing photo shoots entirely on your own. I personally am fortunate enough to live with my partner who is also a furry, but there are times when she's busy and she can't help out. Or maybe I have a really specific vision in my head for how I want a shoot to be going, and it's not something that another person can visualize. Or sometimes, I just feel bad bothering her to, come help me out with my silly little hobby, and I'd like to just do things on my own. So over the years, I've picked up a bunch of tips and tricks for engaging and managing fursuit photography entirely on your own. The number one tool, which is a lifesaver to me, is voice activation. If you go into the settings on your phone's camera, there will likely be a toggle for this. I have an Android phone. On my system, it's called voice control. It might be called different things for different systems. But basically, what it does is you say a command, like smile or capture, and the phone takes a picture for you without having to touch the screen. I like to say cheese because it makes my eyes crinkle up, which is great for my unique situation with my fursuit. Voice control is super helpful for hands-free photography. Of course, unless you've got one of those really, really thin fursuit paws, you're not going to be able to hit the buttons with paws on. If your fursuit has big, unwieldy paws that are hard to get on and off quickly, or if, like me, you have fursuit paws with attached arm sleeves and you can't take a paw off without removing your whole shirt and part of your fursuit, you're going to find this extremely helpful. Honestly, I think phone voice activation is severely underutilized for cell phone photography. A lot of people that I've met don't even know that their phone can do this. You can even use it to record video, not just pictures, but I will get to that later. So for getting a full body shot or something staged, like a wider shot in front of a backdrop, you're going to want to place your camera on something instead of just holding it. I recommend a tripod for this. Again, it doesn't have to be anything expensive or professional if that's not financially accessible for you. You can do a lot with just those little 3-leg tripods with the little bendy legs. Selfie sticks are also a viable choice. They were super popular a few years back, so you probably have one just lying around the house collecting dust. Why not put that to good use? And of course, timers. You can set up the timer on your phone, or you can use an external timer. There are these little handheld gadgets, these little remotes that you can buy online that you can pair to your phone using Bluetooth. If you press the button, it just takes the picture for you. If you have a smaller hand paw on your fursuit with more dexterity, you can use one of these pretty easily, or if you have a bigger fursuit paw, you can even sometimes put it inside of the paw to take the picture without the remote being in the shot. Again, if this isn't something that you can do, if all else fails, you can always go for the, hand behind the back pose, which is certainly viable. Again, you don't really need to go out and buy a whole lot of stuff. This is about fursuiting at home with what you have. If you don't have a tripod for your camera, you can just stack up a pile of books or some boxes and put your phone on top. If you need some better lighting, there's no need to go out and buy pro light setups when a well-angled desk lamp will do the trick. Lighting honestly does a lot for good-looking photos, and often your fursuit will look different in natural and artificial light. Play around with this. If you don't have a secondary light source, wait until the height of the day and position yourself in front of an open window. See what you can do in that regard. If you want to make your pictures really pop, a little editing goes a long way. Again, you don't have to do a whole bunch. Most phones or even your computer have basic image processing where you can change things like the contrast, balance, color saturation in your photos. And it's just these little touches that make it pop, especially if you're using the front-facing camera on your phone to take selfies. The front-facing camera is usually of a lower megapixel quality than the rear-facing camera. So those pictures will come out a little bit fuzzy, or maybe there's a little more grain on them. You can just, see what you can do in order to balance that out with a little bit of editing, and you'll have some great looking stuff. And of course, finding an area in which to take the pictures may be a little bit troubling, especially now that we can't go outside, or we can't go to conventions or other locations. Get creative with what you have at home. This is just about having fun. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Look around and see what you have in order to, work with what you've got. Don't have a photo backdrop? Use an old bed sheet. If you're taking like a portrait photo and you want something cool behind you, see if you have like a poster or an art piece that you can use. Play around with your living area wherever you are. Move some furniture around. See what you can do with what you have in order to make some dynamic and interesting photos. Of course, what are some of the ideas for the dynamic and interesting photos that we can take in our fursuits? Well, I put together a couple of the more common or engaging ones that I see myself on social media and that I also use in my day-to-day. Hobbies. We've all got them, right? We've all got things that we do other than fursuiting. Why not showcase that with your fursuit as well? Here we have Wad, who is actually a fursuit maker themselves, taking a photo of themselves working on fursuits while in their fursuit. I actually got quite a few submissions for this one, more than I thought I would. Again, it's really cool, the juxtaposition of the fursuiter themselves making fursuits. That's something, really engaging to the viewer. And Babbles over here is a very cute bunny outside doing some gardening, something that goes along with the species of your fursuit. If there's anything that you do, if you play music, take a picture of yourself holding a guitar. If you have a collection, maybe showcase your collection, arrange whatever that is around you and take a picture of yourself with it. Taking pictures of yourself, doing your hobbies in fursuit are really, really good for getting people to know who you are as a person behind the costume as well. If your fursuit character is not really yourself, but like a separate character, think about some of the things that they would like to do and see what you've got around the house in order to arrange a situation where they would be doing that. Cosplaying. So I used to be a cosplayer before I got into fursuiting. I still am. After all, fursuiting is just another form of cosplay. But one thing that I really like to do is combine cosplaying with my fursuits because it helps bridge that gap. A lot of people have like this separation in their mind between cosplayers and fursuiters. If you've ever fursuited at a comic convention or an anime convention or any event that was not specifically for furries, like a Ren Fair, you have probably personally experienced people, having certain opinions about you being there as a fursuiter. Cosplaying really helps bridge that gap. When you see a diva from Overwatch, except she's just a cheetah for some random reason, it really helps bridge that gap where people realize, oh, this is just another form of costuming. And besides, if you've got a bunch of costumes lying around the house, from Halloween, if you don't have to necessitatively be a cosplayer per se, just dress up, do something fun. Here I am cosplaying Diva from Overwatch. As you can see, all I had to do is just set up a chair, put some video games around me, some dew and Doritos, and you've got like a really cute photo shoot going on. Fangorn over here is dressed as obviously a Jedi Knight from Star Wars, and they have a collection of, space-related items around them. I love cosplaying in fursuit. It's really great, it's really fun, it's really engaging, and really cool thing that you can do. Of course, the ever-popular bedroom posing. For those of us who might live with other people or in an apartment or a very small space where you don't have a lot of room to set stuff up, pretty sure you've at least got a bed to call your own. Work with that. You can do a ton of different poses, on the bed. They don't necessarily have to be suggesting anything. It can just be, that space that you've got. Get some plushies around you, get some, nice pillows, maybe a cup of tea, have yourself be relaxing in bed. If it's a rainy day, get a picture of yourself in bed in front of the window, with the rain coming down. There's a whole lot that you can do to make this really dynamic. Working from home. If you happen to be one of the people who are able to work from home during the pandemic, why not showcase that while you're wearing your fursuit? Of course, don't necessarily put the fursuit on while you are working, but you can always set up a staged picture and just, show people what you do. Again, also, staging pictures is something you can totally do. If you are not an actual real-life doctor, you can still put on a lab coat and get some beakers and stage a photo shoot where, your character is doing such and such. It's something really fun. I've taken pictures of myself just like, in a study pose with old textbooks that I had and things like that. And I've had people saying like, oh, I didn't know you were still in college. And it's like, no, I'm not. But, you can be creative. This whole thing is about dressing up, getting into costume, and being creative. Playing with pets. If you have pets and they are not the type to be startled or afraid of your fursuits, these pictures are often my absolute favorite. Like here you can see Edward playing with his dog Teddy, and Blue and their dog Blue, who you can probably notice their fursuit was actually modeled after their pet themselves, which is so cool. Fursuiters engaging with pets or animals is always something really, really fun. I have a pet myself. I've taken photos of myself in fursuit engaging with her. These are really cool. I've even seen a video of like a fursuiter playing with their dog and having their dog do tricks, like going in between their legs with, while they're wearing the fursuit. These are so much fun. And, often dogs will react better to the fursuits than cats. My cat was startled. She was very wary of my fursuit at first. Now she tolerates it, but she still kind of doesn't like it when I pick her up and hold her in fursuit. So do make sure that you are aware of how your pet or the animal in question will react. You don't want them getting frightened or agitated and accidentally messing up your fursuit. Smaller pets, you can take so many cool pictures with smaller pets, like, rodents, ferrets, rats, hamsters, lizards, birds. If you've got a pet, do some posing with the animal. It's really, really fun, and it'll get a lot of great reactions, I can tell you that. Cooking. Again, like what I was saying about setting up a shot, you do not necessarily have to be actually performing the activity to take a picture of yourself doing it. I mean, I love cooking and baking, and my character does as well. So I often incorporate that into photo shoots that I do. If you've got a nice looking kitchen, make use of that. Set up a situation where you're cooking and making something nice. Maybe you can even pair that with like a recipe when you post it online. And, it's really engaging and something really fun to do. Slice of life photo shoots are just the best thing. Just a picture of yourself in your fursuit doing what you or your character normally would on a regular day. Here we've got Julius, who I believe is a cuttlefish, having a picnic with some sushi, which is a really cute photo, obviously. And Ashram here is doing some laundry. They are hanging up their fursuit while they are also in fursuit. So these cute little situations, really good. Just anything like this. Whatever you can come up with. Excuse me. If all else fails, just share with folks what you're doing during the pandemic. So here I am relaxing with a nice hot cup of tea, some stuffed animals, and one of my favorite cozy outfits, playing Animal Crossing on my Nintendo Switch, which is basically what I've been doing this whole time. If you've got masks, I've seen people put masks on their fursuits and take pictures of that, to promote being healthy and being safe and protecting our community, stuff like that. And of course, the ever popular selfie. You can just do a whole lot with taking pictures of yourself in your fursuit. Using the front-facing camera will be a lot more helpful because you can see yourself in the pose. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the picture quality on that will be a little bit lower than if you were using the rear-facing camera on your phone. If you're using an actual professional camera and you have one of those for some reason, this may not be an option depending on how your camera is set up, if it has one of those viewfinder screens. What I've done myself is in the past, I've set up a full-length mirror behind the camera so I can actually see my own reflection and help pose better from that. But yeah, anything, anywhere, anytime, selfies are always super fun to do in fursuit. All right, we're about halfway through, so I'm going to try to pick things up a bit. For anyone who may have joined in the middle, if you have any questions, I cannot see the chat right now, so please hold those till the end. And again, if you missed the beginning part of the panel, that will be up later on my YouTube channel, so don't worry about that. Another great thing that you can do is, we are in an unprecedented situation right now. Take the opportunity to visit locations that you normally wouldn't be able to access. There's a quarantine going on. People aren't really out in the streets as much. People aren't in public spaces as much. A lot of places are closed. For those of us who may have some reservations about going out in public and fursuiting, now is actually a really good time to try that out. I myself, just this past June for Pride Month, I was able to go out to a place near me that had a pride flag painted on the crosswalk of a busy street, and I was able to take this amazing shot. I had a friend come out and help me. As you can see, camera's very far away from me, so we made sure to social distance, and we both wore masks, yes, even under the fursuit. And it came out really great. I normally would not have been able to take such a picture like this, crossing a busy road, but because of the pandemic, the streets were actually closed down for a couple weeks, so I was able to take advantage of that. If you have access to an establishment that's been closed for some reason, take pictures in front of that. Go out hiking, go out to the mountains. I've seen a ton of people who have access to this doing this in their fursuits. It's so amazing. There are fewer people outside. You don't have to worry about folks, coming across you doing your own little photo shoot. And even if they do, it's not a big deal. Everyone's outside doing their own thing and having fun. I'm sure you've seen people, out in a park doing their own thing and you don't really bother them. So take this opportunity to see what you can do if you're the type of person who doesn't normally enjoy going out in your fursuit, or if you don't have a lot of space at home in order to suit. Take advantage of this. Recording videos. A lot of the things that I mentioned about photography can also be applied to video recording. Again, much can be done with your own phone without the need for special equipment. I mentioned the voice activation earlier. You can also use that not only to take pictures, but to start recording videos as well. With my particular phone, you do need to get up and turn it off manually after you've started recording, but just beginning it in front of the camera is really, really easy. There are lots of different things that you can make videos about. I'll get into that a little bit later, but right now I just want to cover the basics. Editing your videos in post. You do not need paid or fancy software to do this. Videos can be edited with many social media apps, like Instagram, Twitter. You can cut down the video length. Instagram, I think you can put filters on it even. Your phone itself probably has a video editor that supports basic editing, just stuff like changing the lighting, cropping out maybe a part at the beginning or the end where you were taking off your fursuit paw in order to turn the camera off, You can just do that right in the app itself. To record the videos, if you have a laptop, it most likely has a webcam built in. you can use that. Or if it's a kind of crappy one, you can buy your own webcam. I heard people saying that it was difficult to purchase webcams due to the pandemic and everybody doing like video calls and group calls from now on. I recently got a desktop computer that didn't have a webcam built in. Obviously, I was able to find one really easily on Amazon. It was not too expensive. It's the camera that I'm using right now, and as you can see, the video quality is pretty darn good. So if you don't have a webcam, you can even use your own phone as a webcam. There's software that you can set that up with. Or if you don't want to record, in your machine itself, you can just record the videos on your phone, setting it up on a tripod or something like I mentioned earlier, and plug that into your computer later for editing. The type of videos that you want to record are ones where you are talking, you will probably want to use an external mic to record sound. Fursuits often muffle the voice. Obviously, it's something big and it's in front of your head. So if you can get an external mic, like one of those little small ones, some people I've seen put those inside of the fursuit head while they're talking, and that helps. Otherwise, you can just get an external mic, like a blue snowball or something, and record the audio while you're in fursuit. Another option, depending on what type of video it is that you're doing, is to record the audio separately, either beforehand or in post, and just, edit that into the video itself. You might also want to do a little bit of cleanup on your sound if you are speaking in fursuit due to the muffled audio. But don't focus too much on this. It doesn't need to look or sound professional unless, you have like you're a YouTuber or you have like a Patreon or something that people are literally paying you to do this. It's just something to have fun, and to keep active in your fursuit during the pandemic. So you do not need to worry about this being the best of the best. Just do what you can with what you have. And the most important part is that you yourself are having fun. What types of videos can you record? Short videos, obviously, are one of the easiest things for people to get into. If you have an idea for like a cute little skit, maybe your fursuit character is locked outside, and they're trying to get into the apartment, stuff like that. Memes, obviously, super, super popular, super, super easy to make videos about in your fursuit. Oh my God. Dance videos. Fursuit dancing is really, really popular. If you have even the slightest modicum of dance talent, dance in your fursuit. These are always super, super fun to do. You can even just do updates in your fursuit talking about what's going on with your life, how you're handling the pandemic, any sort of changes, anything that's going on. Short videos. There are lots of places online that you can post them. Twitter. Ton of furries are on Twitter. Twitter, I know, I use Twitter myself. It has a 2-minute and 20-second limit. You can get a lot of content into that time frame. But again, if your video happens to go over that, what you can easily do is put like a clipped preview of that on Twitter and then just link to your video hosted elsewhere. Instagram is another great platform, social media platform for short videos. That has a 1 minute limit on the video itself as a post. Instagram has a feature called stories, which are these posts that disappear after a day. Those only have a 15-second limit. So depending on what type of content you're making, you can utilize either of those to your advantage. TikTok, really popular. Not a platform that I myself use, so I am not super duper familiar with it, but I believe it has a 1-minute limit. TikTok has a really unique feature where you can like duet other people. Like if you see someone doing a trend or a funny video and you want to like reply to that, you can also do that as well, and that gives you a lot of content to work with and a lot of ideas for stuff that you can do in your fursuit. TikTok itself, I know, has a sound library, like, music tracks, clips from, dialogue clips from movies. You can use that to come up with stuff to do. Longer videos, tons of stuff that you can do with this, obviously. I myself run a YouTube channel where I do a series called Cheetah Chat with Shetani, where I talk about different topics pertaining to the furry fandom that interest me that I don't see other people really talking about too much. How-tos are another thing that you can do. There's a fursuiter that I know called Buttercup, who runs a channel called Bake Me Up Buttercup, and she actually makes recipes. She shows you how to bake different treats in fursuit. She is so cool. I highly recommend checking out her channel. Any other how-tos, like, you know, teaching people how to play the guitar. Maybe that's a skill that you have. You can do that in fursuit in order to be more engaging. Reactions to things, you know, doing vlogs, or it doesn't even have to be that style of format. You can do a short film in your fursuit. If your character is someone that you've got like a universe set up for a certain story, or maybe there's just, you know, a tale that you want to be told, you can do that in your fursuit and post it online. Platforms for doing this are YouTube. Obviously, this is extremely popular. This will get you the most amount of views if you use. It has a 15-minute limit for regular users, longer if you are a verified user. Another platform for long videos is Vimeo. This does not have a length limit, so if you've got like a feature-length film for some reason, or you want to do like a 6-hour video talking about why Star Wars is bad in your fursuit, you can do that as well. This platform is less restrictive in regards to content matching. YouTube can be pretty militant about that. If you use like 10 seconds of a copyrighted song, it'll hit you with a copyright strike. Vimeo, you don't have to worry about that, but something that you do want to keep in mind is, for better or worse, it has a smaller user base. I have lost my place. Bear with me just a second. Super hard to do clicking with the fursuit pause, as I am sure you can imagine. Piggybacking off of that, streaming is another thing that you can do in your fursuit. Playing any sort of video games, doing art streams. There are a ton of people streaming at Megaplex itself right now. You can watch them streaming. If you have a webcam and want to stream yourself doing art in fursuit, that's super cool. Doing any Q&As, ask me anythings, you know, things where you interact with your followers or people online in fursuit, those are very popular as well. Those are some of the platforms that you can stream videos to. Making GIFs. Making GIFs is just, you know, sort of falling under the same category. If you are making a longer video, you can snip clips out of that and, you know, make it into a GIF. These are just, you know, some cute examples of things that you can do. If you use Telegram or social media, these are really fun to use as reactions. People, you know, react very well to these, and it's something cuter than just sending like a Telegram sticker. And of course, you know, it's utilizing your fursuit instead of just part of your character or somebody else's character. Public video projects. I want to quickly touch on this before we run out of time. So this is sort of like a situation where the host has an idea for a video and they need a lot of people to come together and send in submissions to make it happen. Usually what you see this as is like music videos, but it can take many other forms. If you're on social media at all, like Twitter, Discord, Telegram, those are popular places for furries. You can look for people who are posting like, hey, I'm doing this project and I need submissions for such and such. If you yourself have an idea that you don't see people doing and you want to bring that to life, you can even host your own. All you need to do is just get people to spread the word, and I guarantee you other fursuiters will come and want to contribute. Here's an example of a project that I myself contributed. I will have, that's the person's link right there. You can go to their channel and check it out. This was a user who actually was a composer and made their own song about being in quarantine and took a whole bunch of clips of fursuiters, you know, doing what they're doing in quarantine and put it together. Another video project that I was a part of is Mask Up. This was a video where fursuiters were asked to take a short clip of themselves putting on a mask or utilizing a mask with their fursuit. Again, just like, you know, topical ideas, engaging ideas, different fursuiters contribute to the idea and you put the video together and you've got something great that's, you know, more engaging than what you could do just sitting at home by yourself. If you are looking for projects that you yourself can join right now and do stuff in your fursuit during the pandemic and be an active fursuiter, Reskel is doing a really cool series about showcasing furries from around the world. You can join this Telegram group. I will put a link in the chat when I'm done presenting so that you can click on that more easily, or you can write that down. Basically, you just join the Telegram chat. The videos are hosted on TikTok, but you do not have to have a TikTok to enter. All you need to do is just upload a really short clip, and it just showcases fursuiters from around the world. It's really cool. They've been running this for, I think, about 20 weeks now. So I highly, highly recommend. This is something really easy that you can start getting involved with right now if you want to do more stuff in your fursuit during the quarantine. Group video chats are also really, really, really popular. There's no reason to not do this in your fursuit if you have other people that you're comfortable fursuiting with on camera. There are different groups that you can join. There are different, platforms that you can use if you want to start hosting group video chats on your own. It can either be scheduled or something impromptu. I participated in a video chat I'm in a cheetah group on Telegram, and all the cheetahs get together every once in a while and do a group video call. It's really cool, and at least while interacting with other furries, you'll know it's a safe avenue for you to be wearing your fursuit. If you want to get involved with these as well, if you are on Discord, there is a fursuit video call community. They do meetings every Fridays, either 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's pretty lax when they actually start. But that's something that you can do. That's on Discord if you happen to be on that platform. Another event is the Fuzzy Omegle weekends. These are hosted on an external platform called Omegle. Instead of being like a group chat, this is a one-on-one thing where you get just matched up with a random fursuiter who is using the same event tags. It's very similar to the networking feature on Hopin on Megaplex right now, if you have actually made use of that. Except there's no time limit. You can just talk to the other person for as long as you want, and you can just skip them, if you want to move on to the next person. They meet every Saturday, 5 p.m. So after this panel is done, if you want to hop on and do that, you are more than welcome. Online cons, like Megaplex. As you can see, I am attending an online con right now, and I am wearing my fursuit, and I am having a great time. There are so many things that you can do, like fursuit parades. Megaplex is doing a fursuit parade tomorrow. I believe the time is 1 p.m. if you want to check that out. This is not like an active webcam thing. This is using photo submissions from beforehand, but I know other conventions are doing like online live stream fursuit parade kind of things. Meet and greets, again, Megaplex is having those as well. There is going to be a fursuit meet and greet after my panel at 4:30 p.m. So if you want to join that, excuse me, and talk to other fursuiters, absolutely, I highly recommend doing that. Dance competitions. Here's an example of the Anthrocon dance comp, where you record a dance video beforehand and send it in, and then it works kind of like if you are familiar with the actual convention dance competitions. Also, costume contests. Here we see Temperance doing a cosplay of a Khajiit from Elder Scrolls that they actually entered into the Cosplay Central cosplay competition. So it doesn't necessarily have to be furry conventions. You can look into other cons as well, like, Comic-Con, Anime-Con. These are doing online cosplay competitions. If your fursuit is like a character from a existing property, or if they can be modified to do such, like, adding a costume to make a Khajiit out of a cat fursuit, you can look into these as well. So you recorded a whole bunch of stuff in your fursuit. Where do you share it? Where the furries are, of course. There are so many platforms that furries are online these days. Twitter is like one of the biggest online places for furries right now. Instagram is pretty popular too. Facebook, I don't use very much, but I know a lot of other furries do. Mastodon is a great chat client, similar to Twitter, but a lot better and run by a lot better people. There's actually a really active furry community on the Reddit, the r/furry subreddit. You can post there, various Telegram groups. You can, there's a furry bot that you can search for like furries in your area, your state, or even city if it's big enough. You can join, you know, Telegram chats for your species, like I'm in a chat for cheetahs. Any sort of subgroups like, you know, gamer furries, stuff like that. And the same with Discord servers. There's a lot that you can join, and, you know, in a like-minded group of individuals such as that, fursuiting stuff is more than welcome to be shared. So it can be hard to motivate yourself to keep fursuiting in this pandemic. You do as much as you can, but, you know, you're still at home by yourself and you're not actually going out with your friends. It can be a lot to go through the effort of suiting up just to, you know, do a couple little fun things for social media. So try to motivate yourself to stay active by sticking to a schedule. Say, I'm going to post every Friday, or I'm going to post once a month at least, or something to that effect. There are hashtag trends that you can follow, like hashtag Fursuit Friday on Twitter, Instagram, other social media apps, where people will be sharing their fursuit pictures every Friday. Go ahead and capitalize on that. Use that as an excuse. Say to yourself, oh, it's Friday's coming up. I've got to have a new picture to post. So that motivates you in order to get into your fursuit and make that content. Look for groups that meet on a regular basis. I mentioned some groups earlier that you can join where people get into fursuit and interact with each other on a regular basis. Stuff like this going on is stuff that you can use in order to motivate yourself to fursuit. But it's important to know your own limits and only do what you feel comfortable with. If you're just not feeling it one day, it's okay to skip, you know. Take care of yourself first and foremost. Take care of your physical and mental health. If you are not in the right mindset to fursuit, if it starts feeling more like a chore for you and less like a fun hobby, that's when you know that you need to step it back and take care of yourself and, you know, get your mindset into that right frame before you go out and start suiting. Why even bother fursuiting in quarantine? There are a ton of great reasons in order to fursuit while you're in quarantine. First of all, maintenance of your fursuit. If you're putting the costume on and taking care of it, you're going to have to maintain it afterwards. Fursuits can't be kept in a box or on a hanger for very long. They need to be maintained. If there's like a long span of time between conventions, sometimes we don't do that as much as we should. So having your fursuit out and using it after you fursuit every single time, you're going to be disinfecting the suit, you're going to be washing it, you're going to be brushing any knots out from the fur. In doing so, you're going to notice if there are any holes or popped seams that need repairing. So you're going to keep your fursuit in tip-top shape. It keeps your character or your persona in the public eye. If you don't post too much on social media, people are going to start wondering what happened to you. You know, they'll be like, oh, I haven't heard from so-and-so in a while. I hope they're okay. I hope they're not, you know, sick. So fursuit pictures or videos or just fursuiting content lets people know that you're okay, you're doing all right. Even during this pandemic situation, we are all stuck inside and we can't go out to see our friends. There's only so much that we can do. Human beings need social interaction. Fursuiting is an avenue to be social with other people, other furries online. We still need to do that. Fursuiting is a great way in order to just, you know, start communicating with other people over text, over voice, social media. It keeps you interacting and it fulfills that basic social need. And finally, just wearing your fursuit makes you happy. It's something that you enjoy. It's going to make you feel better, improve your mood, promote positivity. And the most important person for you to be suiting for is yourself. So at this point, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. I am going to take a look at the chat. If you have any questions, I'm going to really quickly try to cover those. So if you've got any questions, go ahead and pop that in the chat. I'm going to be looking back over the last couple posts to see if anyone has asked anything. Oh, let's just see here. I made it right under the wire. I'm so proud of myself. I practiced this like 6 times. You guys have no idea. This is my very first like speaking panel at a convention. I've done like meetup panels before, but those are way more relaxed and you don't have to worry about it. I don't know if you can tell or not, but, you know, social anxiety is a thing that I struggle with. I'm used to doing videos in like a pre-recorded format, so I didn't think that I'd be able to do this, but I am so glad that it seems to have worked out. Nico, hi Nico. Nico asks, what are some of your favorite fursuit home photo shoots? Right off the top of my head, something that I did that I really enjoyed was this past Halloween. Instead of going out trick-or-treating, because I'm slightly past the age group for that, what I did was I set up a cool photo shoot in my own home with my partner. I dressed up my fursuit as a witch. She dressed up as a black cat, and we just did like a really cute photo shoot at home with each other in like different poses, the witch and the cat. I was like, you know, transforming her into a kitty, and it was really, really cute and fun. So at this point, I am just going to start wrapping things up. Thank you all so much for attending. I'm really glad. Oh my God, we had 41 people watching. I can't believe it. This is so awesome. If you like what I do and you want to follow me elsewhere online, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Shetani Cheetah. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Shetani. If you want to see any of my other videos that I've made in the past, I have con videos, you know, back from when conventions were a thing. And also the Cheetah Chat series that I mentioned earlier. You can check out my homepage if you want to learn more about me, what I do, my fursuit, yada, 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 the whole 9 yards. And also it has links to all the other platforms that I'm on online. If you enjoyed the panel and you want to treat me to a cup of tea, you can drop me a little donation on my coffee. It would be super appreciated. You know, those keep me able to, you know, keep doing what I'm doing. And as a reminder, if you happened to miss this panel or you think it was really cool and you want your friends to see it, I will hopefully, you know, barring technological difficulties, I will have a recording of this panel in order to share online later. That is going to, again, be on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Shetani, that I will have up later at some point after the convention. What was your favorite fursuit cosplay photo shoot? Probably Diva from Overwatch. That was a character that I really enjoyed at the time, and I did a lot of photo shoots with her. I've also in the past done Alice Liddell from American Miggy's Alice. That was a fun cosplay photo shoot that I did. There were some other costumes that I wanted to do in fursuit, but with conventions not happening right now, those are a little bit lower on the priority list for me because there's only so much that you can do at home, and I really like to bring those to locations where the character would fit into. Like with Diva, I did some shoots in the games room at conventions because Diva is a video game playing character. So that's not high on the priority list for me right now, but hopefully I'll be able to do more of those in the future. With regard to cosplaying in fursuit, Rora says it bridges the gap to show that it's just another form of costuming. Yes, exactly. And that's something that I noticed not only from outsiders to the communities, but furries as well. For some reason, like, furries are expected to have fursuits or to like fursuiting. This is coming from people outside of the fandom as well as inside. Like, when someone says furry, a lot of the time what people will think of is a person in a fursuit. If someone says, I'm a fan of Batman, you don't expect that person to have a Batman costume in their closet, do you? You don't, if someone says, oh, I really like anime, you don't say, oh, which anime characters do you dress up as? That's not expected of them. Being a furry is a hobby just like any other, and being a fursuiter is our form of cosplaying. So at its fundamental level, there really is no difference. Cosplaying Mayor Lionheart as a lion, yeah, that is something really cool. If your character is a species that shows up in pop culture, you can do cosplays of pop culture characters. Those are really, really fun. I have some fellow Magpie Bone suitor friends who are a wolf and a lion, and they have realistic suits like mine, and they are doing Beastars cosplays. So yeah, any sort of costume where like a fursuiter dresses up like someone from pop culture media, those are always really fun things to do. Mangler, yes. So I have what's known as a use your own eyes fursuit. My fursuit maker is Magpie Bones. So it uses my own eyes and also my actual hair. So yes, I do have makeup around my eyes in order to bridge that gap. You don't have to wear makeup with these kinds of suits, but I like to do it for my own personal reason. And yeah, so I don't know if like they're gonna cut me off or if I can just keep talking. But if you are a fursuiter and you have your fursuit on or near you right now, and you are thinking, I want a fursuit, what you can do right now is head over to the Fursuiting meet and greet happening in sessions. I am going to leave so that I can get a drink of water, and I will be right over there. Max is going to be hosting that, if not right now, but in a couple minutes. So I highly recommend to hop on over there, and I hope to see all of you folks there. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of Megaplex. Bye-bye.